Welcome to Pods with Posh and Paul, a podcast designed to inspire and challenge listeners through story, experience and insight. To face adversity, learn from suffering and discover how to embrace life with a heart filled with love and gratitude. We are so thrilled to have you journey with us and can't wait to share your stories. Join Sue O'Callaghan and Joanne Webb as we disrupt the theory that everyone has perfect lives.
Join us today as we ask the question, how do we actually love ourselves?
Well, Sue, we talk all the time about self-love, we talk all the time about self-care and loving oneself. What the heck does it actually mean? How do we actually love ourselves?
Well, I think, to be honest, it's the difference between looking internally, isn't it, as opposed to looking externally and looking for affirmation in other people. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think we're responsible for our own emotions, our own reactions, and responsible ultimately for our healing from the past and the things that we're carrying with us that have been put upon us by people unintentionally and intentionally.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. You used the word responsibility. So we're talking about responsibility and accountability for ourselves. So yes, we've all had things spoken over our life which we don't like or have maybe we feel have changed us. And yes, people have done things to us that have hurt us. We carry hurt, we carry rejection, we carry pain. But we take responsibility for that and we can own it, and then we can start to change it. We can say, do I agree with it, or do I take a different viewpoint maybe?
I think it's really empowering to know that you can choose how you feel. Now, if you're not really enlightened, you don't actually realise that. So we go through this life on a hamster wheel, but things happen, life happens, we have these expectations, we have this kind of almost life plan. And let's just say it's your 2.4 children, your house, your holidays, your car, whatever it is. And it might look different in different cultures, but that's generally our culture. And you go along, you get it, or you strive for that. And throughout life, things are said to, teachers might tell you that you can't do something, or you didn't get your pen license, or you've got childbearing hips, or you don't get into the school play, so you don't feel like you're good enough, or your parents don't really give you enough attention, or they tell you something about yourself. There's so many things that happen, or you get bullied at school, or whatever it is. And then these things are then built up and up and up, layer upon layer upon layer, that we start to carry around with us. And then because we're carrying that hurt, or what is it? It kind of attacks our confidence in a way, doesn't it? And
yes, I think where we're coming from then is life is done to us.
Yeah.
So we're a victim of our circumstances. So when you take an individual, and I talk for myself here, life has happened to me. Circumstances have been ones that I wouldn't have chosen. Do I then become a victim to my circumstances of the past, and I'm defined by my past, by my circumstances? Or do I have choice to empower myself and create a new me, create a new future? And you and I very much about, let's create our future. Let's have a vision for what we want. Let's speak it out there and let's bring it into being. And that's happening to us, isn't it?
Absolutely.
There's a lovely verse in the Bible that says, faith is substance of things hoped for and evidence of things not seen. So you step into the future, which is things not seen, and you can create what you want by what you think about yourself and what you actually speak out and put out there.
Yeah.
So we want to really put the message out there to you listeners that you can create your future, that you are not a product of your past, you're not a product of your circumstances that have happened to you. We stand alongside you in the pain that you carry or the fear that you carry, but we're saying to you, you have choice. Be empowered from this day. Take responsibility for who you are. Be accountable, and then create change.
Absolutely.
So how do we do that?
Well, I think to begin with, it's actually sitting within it. And we talk about this all the time. We talk about sitting within things and accepting it, or becoming aware of it, or surrendering to it. We can package that up any way, but it is at the end of the day not fighting it. It's the stopping the fight, because if you're in that fight mode all the time, we were in it for years and years, weren't we? So you're fighting it. You're on that hamster wheel. You're striving for your 2.4 children. You're striving for your house, while having those pull and push thoughts in your head. I can do this, I can't do that, I'm stupid, I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable, I'm fat, I'm ugly, all of this noise that's going on in your head, never feeling worthy. But as soon as you stop just sit in it and say, what am I actually doing? What is it that I actually want from life? What parts of life is bringing me joy? Because I think a lot of people go out there and they don't even have that much joy in their life because they're doing everything so mindlessly. Everything is within their subconscious rather than their conscious behaviour. But as soon as you stop, listen and become aware, and you can only do that, and then within that stopping and taking some time, then you can start questioning.
And when you say listen, you're meaning listening to your thought patterns. So if, for example, somebody invites you to do something and you say no, you can ask yourself, why are you saying no? Is it fear? What are you afraid of? Change the thought pattern. Maybe change that to a yes, and I'll step into the unknown and maybe step into the fear and see what unravels. Or if you hear yourself saying, well, I can't do that, listen to that voice. Why have you programmed to say, I can't do that? Where does that come from? Is it a teacher at school? Go back a long way. Is it a teacher at school saying you can't do that? Invariably, we've all had that said to us. I remember my English teacher saying to my parents, Sue will never ever write. She can't write. She doesn't read enough, she won't write. And yet here I am, we've just published our second book, haven't we?
Yeah.
So never accept, and I actually thought I couldn't write. And as I was writing my first book, I was writing my book still thinking, but see, you can't write. Nobody will read it because you can't write. And that's how programmed we are. So when you say stop and listen, what you mean is listen to the programmed thoughts, because we are programmed. We're like little computer chips in a computer. Our minds are computers. We're programmed. And just listen to the programmed thinking, listen to the programmed thoughts, and then question them. Absolutely. Why am I saying that? Why am I thinking that? Be aware.
Yeah, and totally. And as I was saying just a little bit ago, it was just about the joy in life. You know, as I say, we're striving for things, we're working towards things. People are always striving for happiness, looking for that elusive happiness in the future, whereas happiness is here and now, and it's within us. It's not within somebody else, it's within you. And I think you miss out on all of the little tiny moments of joy and peace and happiness because, as I say, we are doing things mindlessly. So it's only when you can actually stop, listen to those thought patterns in your head, start questioning, start writing them. So, no, actually, I can write. It may not be to everybody's taste, but I can write, and I am writing. It's like somebody said to me, like, "Oh, you're not ever going to be a good mother. You didn't play with dolls." Well, I've got 4 blooming children, and I choose whether I'm a good mother or not, and I say I am. Somebody's not going to tell me if I'm a good mother. I might not make choices that other mothers make, but I stand in my shoes, and I stand in my power, and I do things with conviction. Do I make mistakes? Heck yes, all the time. Do I rectify their mistakes? Yes, and I try to be a better person the next day. But it's doing things mindlessly with confidence because you know who you are and you know why you're doing it. And a lot of that, Sue, isn't it about trying to find your values?
Totally, yes. It's interesting that you say that because I was listening to Radio 4 this morning, and there's a beautiful girl that came on board that writes poetry, and she's just published Platinum Blonde, and she started writing poetry at the age of 14, and she knew that was what she wanted to do. And I was thinking, how many people don't know what they want to do age 30, 40, 50? Yet why did she know at 14 that was what she wanted to do? She found something she enjoyed and she put her passion behind it, and her passion was like an engine that drove the poetry into being a success. And now aged 22, 25, I can't remember what she was, she's just produced a lovely book of her poems. And that's what we need to do at every stage of our life, isn't it? We put our passion, our energy behind the things we love, and then we go with the driving force behind it, and we succeed in the area of influence, and that's us becoming us. So I think the first thing you say is awareness and sit in it, but then you also need time by yourself to do with it. And I was going to say that lots of people, and I speak for myself in my past, we bury our time being busy. We drown out our pain by being with other people, by having a social life, by shopping, by overindulging in certain areas of our life. So cut out something in your life and create time. Stop running away from me. Be on your own. So have time on your own, which means go for walks on your own. Sit in peace on your own. Sit on the sofa and just be with your thoughts. Empty out your house of people, or actually have a Friday night when you don't invite people over. be on your own. Sit in loneliness. What does loneliness feel like? Is loneliness sitting with me? How can I be happy with me, but actually have time away from other distractions?
I totally agree. When I left my second marriage, I basically convalesced at home in my new house for 12 weeks. You know, I have my children shared care, so week on, week off. Obviously, the week I had them, quite busy, full on with the children. The week I didn't have them, I purposely didn't invite friends over. I purposely didn't go to friends' houses. And my second marriage was an absolute shambles. Obviously, you know, people know on the podcast it was an abusive relationship. And I took the time to sit there age, what was I, like 40, 41 at the time. And it's probably the first time I've ever truly allowed myself to be lonely. And do you know what? It was bitter. But I enjoyed the bitterness because I knew I was healing at a cellular level, and I knew I was healing deeper, and I knew the healing would happen quicker, even though it was really painful. But had I just gone out into party mode for those 12 weeks, for instance, and been a social butterfly, and all of my friends were so concerned about me, they wanted to see me, which was beautiful. But no, I chose to just sit in absolute quietness for 12 weeks because, as we've just said, that's the only time that you can really understand yourself, get to know you. What is it you want? How do you want your life to look, and why? Because when you know those three things, that passion is in those questions. And like the girl who writes her poetry because she loves poetry, it's what she wants to do. If you know what your why is and how you want it to look, then you're going to do everything you possibly can to get there.
Absolutely. And I think also sitting in that quiet time, you and I know that our healing is in the pain. So it's very easy to want, our natural reaction is to run away from the pain, but actually go back to the pain, sit with it. And the healing's in the pain. So when the tears come, that's when you know you're being healed. So if you're listening and you've got some memories coming to mind that are painful and you feel tears flowing, just say to yourself, just still stay in it, because the tears are what are healing me. And as I go forward and have that memory again, it won't be raw, it won't be painful. I'll be able to have the same memory without the tears because I've been healed of it.
Yeah. And let the tears flow. Don't try to stop them, because we're so good at trying to stop them. They will eventually stop. They won't go on forever. We promise you that. Because I think sometimes, especially us Westerners, we try to hold back those tears. We try to be us English. We try to be stiff upper lip. No, let's not cry, darling. But let those tears go, because let me tell you, they will stop. They might not feel like they will, because that was always one of my biggest fears. If I start crying, I might never ever stop. They do stop, but they've got to come out, and it's so cathartic. It's so healing, like you say. And this may sound all really silly, because our subject is how do we actually love ourselves. Please rest assured, listeners, this is pure love for yourself to do these steps. This is out of pure love and pure honour for you to do these steps.
Yes, but the first part is painful, isn't it?
All pain.
But when you come out of the pain, yes, when you come out of the pain, then you go to a place where you do love yourself, and you do. I mean, you and I can sit there and say, gosh, we really love who we've become, and our circumstances were awful, but we'd never swap them for the world, because we've become today who we are because of them, because we've done our work. Yeah. And it's a continuous journey, not saying that you and I are there and never will be there. But I think the next stage then is that you find something pleasurable to do for yourself. And you were saying, you know, we're not very good in the Western world at, freeing ourselves from it. I think one of the biggest differences is in the Western world is that we lack music, dance, creativity,
just letting yourself go,
yeah,
you mean?
Yeah,
just
yeah.
letting yourself
just
go
completely.
to things, open up
Yeah.
to things.
A girlfriend was saying the other day she dated a guy in the Caribbean for a while when she lived over there, and they were just always dancing and singing and letting themselves go, and they didn't need alcohol to do it. We need to have alcohol to go and get drunk, to be able to go to dance and have a good time. But you know, music is so beautiful. Put music on in the house and sing to your heart's content. Put music on and sing while you're doing the washing up or the cleaning around the house. Let yourself go. Outside of that, find something new to do for yourself. So stop saying no to things and say yes to things that are outside your comfort zone. Try new things to create a new you. Find new areas that you'd be passionate about to discover who you are. That's another part of loving yourself.
Yeah. And you remember we were talking to somebody not so long ago in a cafe, and she admitted to us that she never sings because her singing teacher about age 8 had thrown her out the choir. And she had never sung since. And this was a woman in her 40s. And I was like, how can you not sing? Like, I cannot sing. I am definitely a wailer. But oh my goodness, how good does it make you feel when you put music on? And wail to your heart's content.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's just, it releases so much energy, so many endorphins. You know I'm an exercise fanatic and I'm all about the endorphins flowing, but by goodness, putting music on and dancing around your house like an idiot and singing, there's nothing better than doing that.
No. And so find the thing that taps into you, where you feel creative and you feel free. So yours is exercise. Mine's being in the garden, growing vegetables. So yesterday I was replanting some of my spinach and digging a new veggie bed and putting the compost in it, and there I'm connected with nature. It's the same as walking barefoot on the beach or walking through the woods. Connecting with nature for me is where my healing is, it's where I feel the energy is, and it's where I come completely alive. So everybody's different. We all enjoy different things. What is it for you, as you're listening, resonates in terms of where you become completely carefree? You could run naked and be wild, or you feel you could just completely let yourself go.
Yeah.
In that place, you learn to love yourself.
I love it. And another thing, when you are on that path of loving yourself, like I'm a fitness and health expert, and I've been in this industry for a long time, and lots of people come to me, they want to look better, they want to feel better, they want exercise in their life because they know it's the right thing. They don't necessarily want to exercise, to be fair, but we all know we should. When you come to love yourself, you are way more likely to eat healthy and exercise and treat yourself with respect. So do kind things for yourself, because we know, because we are loved, we know that that's how we're supposed to be treated, and it's much easier to stick to that exercise regime, to stick to eating some vegetables and drinking 8 glasses of water a day, to getting out in nature, to maybe having a 5-minute peace and quiet cup of tea, or a meditation, or a walk on the beach. It's much easier to do those things because they will be in flow, because you are already loving yourself. Some people, they exercise because they hate the look of their body. So they're exercising for the wrong reasons, or they starve their body, or overeat because of an addiction. That's all toxic stuff, not out of love. None of that is out of love and respect for you.
So for a listener then who's thinking, that's exactly what I do, you've hit the nail on the head, I am starving myself because I hate myself, and that's a way of controlling my environment, or I'm overeating and I'd love to lose weight. If you say they're approaching it from the wrong way because they're exercising to lose the weight, how do they reverse it? How do you find the self-love first? You go on the journey first, and then you're saying you'll lose the weight because you've gone on the journey of finding self-love.
But is it about the weight? Do we need to lose the weight? And
No,
this is the question
no.
that I've got to ask people. Some beautiful people stand in front of me and tell me they need to lose 10, 20, 30 kilos. And you know what? If their health is at risk, I will agree with them that sometimes they do, but sometimes they really don't. I have the most beautiful, voluptuous, or whatever people standing in front of me, and I'm like, do you actually really need to lose this weight? Of course we have health standards. You've got to look at it from that point of view, but some people just don't need to lose weight. They need to love themselves. Just love themselves. That's it. And I'm saying just. Is it easy? Actually, yes, it is quite easy. It's not as hard as we think it's going to be. If we are in flow, and if we flick that switch and say, I want to love myself. Why do you want to love yourself? Find that reason. Why do you want to? And I'm telling you all, it's because you're worthy. You came into this world a ball of light, this beautiful bouncing baby. You look at another baby. Are they not worthy of love? Look at any baby around you. Are they worthy of love? Answer me that. I don't think anybody in the world could say no. Well, so are you.
So the answer is to celebrate yourself.
Yeah.
Regardless of the external periphery around the outside, and regardless of the circumstances that you're in. And pain will never leave, in the sense that pain will always be out there if we go looking for it. Pain will always be around us. People will always hurt us. Jobs will never be satisfactory. There's always going to be controlling people out there, angry people out there. But regardless of our outside circumstances, in the present place in which we're in, with the conflict, with the adversity, can we celebrate ourselves? That's the place we want to get to. It's not once I've cleared my life, or I've left the boyfriend, girlfriend, once I've left the job, once I've bought the house I want, once I'm earning a bit more money, then I can celebrate myself. It's actually right now in the circumstances you're in, because circumstances will never change. It might be different obstacles and different conflicts, but you will never be free of conflict.
No.
We say adversity doesn't discriminate. In the midst of your circumstances you're in right now, as you're listening to this podcast, can you celebrate you, and what can you find to celebrate you for?
Absolutely, because I'm telling you, if most of the world's problems come down to self-love, absolutely. You look at depression rates, anxiety rates, war, conflict, how much hatred is out there. Hurt people.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. And when you see somebody in the supermarket or in the street or at school, and if they're not being nice because they're projecting what is inside of them, that they do not like themselves. You and I have both been in narcissistic relationships. We can look back on that now from an outsider and go, the men do not like themselves. Was it right, their behaviour? No, heck no. We're not excusing it, but they do not like themselves. And so if we can raise the vibration within ourselves, surely that can only be a really good thing for the entire world. You think about that beautiful thought about when a butterfly bats its wings and then that energy is felt across the world. Look at the scientific proof now that is all around us that we are all made of energy. We are not just one big form. We are balls of energy spinning around. The table we lean on, the chair we sit on, everything is energetic. So if we can raise our energetic vibrations by learning to love ourselves and put more love out in the world, how much more love will we get back?
And we were talking this morning on the live, weren't we? We did a live on Facebook. We were talking about gratitude. Once we sit in thanksgiving and gratitude, we increase the frequency in which we're sitting, and then we sit in joy. So we actually, rather than saying, how can I find joy for myself, we create it by changing the energy levels, by being in gratitude, by being in positivity. So if you've woken up today and you're feeling negative, then find something straight away to be grateful for. I'm breathing today. I'm still alive today. Some people listening might not want to be alive today, but look outside the window and say, the trees are green and beautiful. The sky is blue, or it's raining to water the plants. Find something, whatever it is, to be in gratitude for, because that lifts that vibration.
Absolutely. And when we were on our journey to self-love, we had our own little tips and techniques that we used. And one of the things I used all the time is I'd wake up in the morning, I'd go, good morning, thank you, I am worthy, I love you, Joanne, it's going to be a great day today. I mean, was it going to be a great day? How the heck did I know? But if I'd woke up in the morning and say, oh my gosh, I'm so tired, I want to stay in bed, it's going to be a shitty day, you can almost guarantee it's going to be a shitty day.
Yeah.
It's that mindset, it's how we talk them words over ourselves, how we speak to ourselves, as you say, putting things into positivity and knowing that it's worthwhile and we are actually capable of achieving anything we want.
We are. And on that note, I was going to say keep a journal, which you mentioned at the very beginning. Journals are really interesting to write your thoughts down because you're expressing them, you're getting them out. And also it's really interesting to go back 6 months later and read your journal, because then you realise you've been on a journey and you're in a different place than you were 6 months ago. The other thing I was going to say is also make a vision board. We're talking about journaling is the present, but a vision board is so lovely. What are your dreams? What are your hopes? Write them down. Don't just have them somewhere in the back of your mind. Write them down. You've done a lovely vision board for me, and you've done one for yourself, which is pictures, cut out images. What is it you're hoping for in your future? What is it you want to draw in? Because what you put out, you'll attract. We're energy, aren't we?
Who was it who said that? It was one of our guests that told us that they've got their vision board on the back of their bedroom door because it's somewhere they walk past numerous times in the day, and every time they walk past it, they touch it. They touch the new house that they want. They touch the book that they're going to write, and they've mocked it up and put it on the wall, whatever it is. And that's what you and I do. We look at our vision boards all the time because we know what we want. And it's like, again, it's asking those questions. Why do we want them? What's our why? What is it we want for life? You and I wanted to write this book. We wanted to go out and help teenagers, and look how our journey is going now, because it was so powerful. That's something that we wanted to do. And we've manifested it, but we've worked bloody hard for it at the same time. But we wrote those goals down, we put the vision board together, and we're working towards it. Could we have done that in a state when we didn't love ourselves? Yeah, possibly, but would it have been done with the same energy? No. Would we be able to connect with teenagers the way you and I can if we hadn't learned to love ourselves? And the only reason why we can connect with teenagers on the level we can, even though we're two middle-aged women, because we've been there, we've been in their situation, we hated ourselves, we hated our life, and we've turned it around, and we can stand there in front of them and they believe us. They believe us because we're telling the truth.
But we've walked the walk, and by walking the walk, you find the tools that are needed, because you can look back and say, what did I need? What did I actually do to get myself out? And many people say to me, it's all very well, Sue, saying love yourself. How do you do it? So on the point of the podcast is to give you these steps. If you want to just write them down, listen to the podcast again, literally take notes, write them down, sit and be aware, have time on my own, create a journal, try new things, be in positivity, and each day just look at it and say, which one of those things can I do today? Because it's all the healing journey, isn't it? And once we heal ourselves and realise how beautiful we are, we walk in abundance and prosperity. We just talked about the book we've just released, and you and I put it on a Kickstarter campaign to get the funding for it. We both put out that we wanted $12,000 in 35 days. It was a huge amount of money. And in those 35 days, there was a couple of days I thought, was that too much? But no, we put that out. That's what we both got. We put it out. And we received $12,000 in 32 days, and we had 3 days spare. And in those 3 days, we received another 600, which was the 5% that was going to go to the Kickstarter Foundation. So in our hands, for the book, we had $12,000 at the end, which was remarkable. Mm-hmm. And that's how the universe works, isn't it? Absolutely. You know, we did it in 33 days, and there's 3 days to get the 5% to pay. So actually, we had the total amount. That is how the universe operates. Whatever you think, whatever you put out there is what will come into being. But you need to create it.
Absolutely. So if you're going to be hating on yourself, you're going to be saying mean things to yourself, you're going to be in negativity saying life's crap, then yeah, life will be pretty crap, and more crap will be thrown your way. And we're not saying when you love yourself, life doesn't throw things at you, because, you know, there's still death, there's birth, there's hurt, there's relationships, there's emotions, there's redundancies, there's successes, there's the whole plethora of life. But that's what makes it so beautiful. But it definitely is more joyful and at a different level when you are at peace and loving yourself. And there's so many tools out there that you can use. I mean, our book is definitely going to be one of them. Hate Myself, Hate My Life. Yes, we've written it for teenagers, but let me assure you, adults, if you are just on this first rung of learning to love yourself, this book will speak to you. And it's written so easily, everybody will understand it and everybody can use it. And there's beautiful tools by people like Louise Hay, who wrote the most beautiful book, Heal My Life, and Melissa Ambrosini,
Wayne Dyer.
Yeah, Mastering Your Mean Girl. Whatever person you find who speaks to you, find that mentor, and they've been on their journey, they speak beautiful words, use all the tools. I mean, the internet is so rich with these things nowadays. You can just put in self-love or learning to love myself, and what one person writes might not resonate, but try different people, try all of their tools, and whichever one works for you, go with it. But yeah, definitely awareness, thinking about it first and asking yourself some questions is definitely the right way to go.
So what's one last message you'd put out there to listeners who want to do this journey but still don't believe it's possible to love themselves? Well,
if they're saying they don't think it's possible, it's not going to be possible. If that's what you're going to tell yourself, it's not possible for me to love myself, well then how is it going to be possible? Because you're already fighting against yourself. But if you have that little tiny seed, with that little voice might be saying it's not possible, but if you've got that little seed inside you going, I want to do it, I want to do it, I want to do it, well, the seed's been planted. And you know you want to do it, and therefore just start changing those thought patterns. I want to learn to love myself, I can learn to love myself. And then when you've got full conviction and that switch has been flicked, then go for it, full bore. Because it has to come from you. We can dictate to people, we can give people the tools and techniques, we can show them the way, we can hold their hand and try and guide them, but you can't drag them down that path. They have to want to go down it, and you have to put in the work yourself. Is it a huge amount of work? Sometimes it feels like it, yeah, but is it worth it? Absolutely.
It's an incredible journey to go on. It is worth every single minute of pain to go through it. It is painful.
It can be, yeah.
The last part of the journey is not painful. It's such a celebration of life. And I think once you love yourself, then you can come from a place where you love other people. You stop judging people. You stop criticizing them. You stop finding fault. You look at relationships and you think, gosh, when I look back to my past, they were to blame for everything in my life. Now they're not to blame. I look at them and think they're carrying hurt, they're carrying rejection, they're carrying pain, and I love them where they're at. But I love myself, and so I can put boundaries in place so that my relationships are healthy. And we talk about that in the book as well, don't we? Yeah. Having healthy relationships, being in a different place in the workplace, loving life to the full, and that's what we want.
Yeah. And
loving life to the full.
It's a beautiful, beautiful life. I mean, we know suffering and adversity happens, you know, whether it's a world event or something little in your life, it doesn't matter. It's not, you don't have to compare. However, you know, look how the seasons change every year. We have these 4 seasons. The moon comes up every night, the sun comes up every morning. It's a miracle. The whole world is a miracle, and you are a miracle. If you look at how the human body is formed, if you look how a baby is made, you are just a walking miracle for being here. And if you can actually just accept that and go with that, that's the first part of gratitude, I think.
And the message in the garden, in nature, is that growth only comes out of the compost. So the smelliest compost muck, dirt that you don't want to really handle in the garden because it's not very nice, you put that on the ground and your vegetables are greener, bigger, more lush. So actually, if you've got a past that's even full of shame, you're listening to this thinking, I've done terrible things, therefore I can't love myself. The more muckier it is, the smellier, the darker, the messier it is, the more growth you're going to have in the future. You can't go higher on the mountain unless you've been down to the valley, been low. So the lower you've been in your life is as high as you can go up the mountaintop.
Absolutely. And it's a beautiful journey, and we're happy to help you every step of the way.
Love, light and peace.
Always.
Thanks so much for being with us today. For us to inspire others to live their magnificently imperfect life, please subscribe and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or on your podcast app. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Pods with Posh and Pool. We can't wait for you to join us on our next episode. Love, light and peace.